Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a GeekVerse review. I am the Seen the Light Tress now for the second time. I recorded about a minute and 10 seconds. Luckily, yes, it's just me alone because Taylor's, prepping for baby stuff, so he has to miss some cast. Kirklin is like, if everyone's a fan of Fast and the Furious, we do these things called retrospectives. We were going to do that for part like whatever 10 2 or 11, but now like, well, that might not be the third one, so we'll see. But at some point I think next year we're doing the Fast retrospective, so he's going to catch up on all of them. And then Kyle, I don't even know, I should have asked Kyle about this because he's reviewed two of them with me, but he's just moved back to Canada and he's just settling and whatnot, so it's just little old me on this review and stuff like that. And for the video audio, I'll be talking probably a little quieter because I'm in the in-laws basement here. It doesn't really matter for you video wise. That's why I'm not like, look, I'm on a couch here, different angle. I got Izzy the dog over there. Yeah, she didn't see Fast, she's dead asleep. Yeah, no, nothing to say there. But yes, this is the Fast 10 review, Fast X, whatever you want to call it. You can go back on the feed. I can't remember how many we reviewed. I think it was like, I think 8 and on. I know I think me and Kyle did like 8 and Hobbs and Shaw, and then I think me and Taylor did 9. Yeah, I think that's what it is. I think there's 4 in there, but like I said, we'll be retroing them. And I think when we retro them too, usually we re-release the episodes we've already reviewed, but I think we'll probably do retros for the other ones too, because like Taylor hadn't given us thought on some, and Kirkland hadn't seen some for the first time, so and whoever else wants to join me, we'll try to bend Kyle's arm and get him to join for those ones. But yeah, as usual, head down the links below for everything you need to know. Head over to Patreon. We're trying to hit 50 patrons by July 31st. We're halfway there, so we'd appreciate it at any tier, not a dollar amount, just any tier. We'd really appreciate it if you do that. You unlock 5 episodes. We'll do the GV bingo, which you can go on our Patreon page and look at that. There's lots of fun stuff. And yeah, what else will happen this week? Lots of reviews coming and whatnot. Also got Flash coming out, Spider-Verse, that'll be fun. Every big movie, TV show, Secret Invasion. We just did Jedi Survivor, which I guess it's older now, but usually all the big stuff we're covering, everything like that. So as usual, to give a little rundown, because I know some people might this be their first time listening to this podcast. To give you my history with Fast and the Furious, I didn't watch it until I met my significant other Emily, and then binged them all. And I'm kind of in the mindset of like 1 to 3 are fine. I understand why people like those a lot, or especially if you're a car guy or you like the racing aspect. I never liked that, so that's why I never jumped on. The only reason I wanted to jump on was because The Rock was in them. I was like, oh, this looks like fun. So 1 to 3 I think are fine, but I understand why people would like them a lot if they like that genre. To me, the sweet spot of the franchise is like 4 to 7. It literally, when you say goodbye to Paul Walker, that was to me saying goodbye to like the pure kind of not quality. There's some good stuff along the way. And then 8 was that like we're starting to jump the shark. We haven't fully, but we're starting to. And then Hobbs and Shaw to me was that full moment of, oh man, we're really doing it. And then Fast 9 continue with Hobbs and Shaw. So, and where I am with 8, what, yeah, 8, 9, Hobbs and Shaw, and now 10. And I think 10 being the highest on this benchmark is the other ones. I it's a bad movie, but you can still enjoy it. That's all I could say is it's something that they get worse and worse. It's one of these things that there's so much that happens in this movie that, and I won't do it, and this is why it'll be better on a retrospect. There's so much that happens in these movies. I need a commentary track, or like I said, the retrospective when we do them, when we take notes and stuff like that. There's so many things when I'm watching this movie, I go, why are they doing this? Why is this happening? What's the reasoning? Like, why do we have to do this? And even this movie, like, probably could be shorter, like cutting some things out that don't really feel necessary. And I don't think they're a good movie. The way, and I feel like before there was a mix of some of these other ones, like I'd say like the 8 to 10 era, that I would say, oh, this is still good, but there's like some really over the top stuff, or this is a little too far, but this is still good. I think we've definitely reached the bad category now. Again, that's if you're a fan of those other ones and you enjoy that type of content, then you're gonna like this. There's something enjoyable. I think if you're a Fast fan, you're gonna enjoy it. I think it just depends the level and degrees. If you've not liked how over the top they've gone, then this is definitely like the nth degree of, yeah, this is, I think, the worst it's ever been. If you're someone like me that, I enjoy them for what they are. I watch them now in a so bad it's good way. Like most of the time, here's the difference from even 1 to 3, but I'd say 4 to 7. I was laughing with the movies. Now I feel like I'm laughing at the movies, and that's fine. It's a good sense of entertainment. That I don't feel like I wasted my time or money. Um, I think the stakes in these things don't really matter anymore. We'll talk about when we get in the spoilers portion. They don't really matter at all. And I should have mentioned I'm giving my non-spoiler thoughts, and then I'll give you a break, and then we'll jump into the spoilers. I don't think the stakes really matter at all. So now when I watch these movies, that's another thing. Where not even just the humor or the overtopness of submarines or zombie cars, whatever, or God's Eye, right? Like all this stuff. It's just that it doesn't matter if anybody dies because I forgot when this movie started. I'm like, right, Han's back. Like I knew that, but like I'm like, oh right, and then I remember I'm like, oh right, they gave this very awful, shitty reason of how he survived, and that's the world we're in. So anytime the characters are in danger, doesn't really matter to me. Like there's even a moment in this movie where there's a scene where you're supposed to believe something. You just don't believe for a second. You don't because the history of what the franchise has done, and these people are literally they went from robbers to super spies to now they are superheroes. They're superhuman. The things Dominic Toretto does multiple times. Like remember the last one, he like brought down a whole like cave or something. He has another moment of strength. You were like, this doesn't make sense. I'll remember Fast 7 when he like hit the street, like oh the streets are against you, whatever it may be. Um, it hits all the cliches, so I think you'll enjoy it to varying degrees. Don't think it's a good movie. I think it's to me, luckily, and it's like what every bad good review. So I don't want to. I will talk about in spoilers, but it is just tooting the horn. If you've seen any other reviews, Jason Momoa does just fucking kill it in this movie, and he is something where, to me, and I think I'll probably give this 2 grades as far as like a like what I think about like it as a film and how I enjoy it. I think if it was just another dull villain or someone else, it would have not been as good. And maybe same thing, you'd get another heightened villain. People are very much comparing to the Joker. There's Joker isms. I would not say it is the Joker. Someone say, yeah, he's playing the Joker. Like I don't think you've read too much Joker, but I get the comparison, right? And there's definitely some esque moments like that. He does to me kind of like save the movie. He's something like he makes it where I would want to rewatch the movie just for him, and he is in it quite a bit. So it's not like a thing like oh I just YouTube his scenes. Like no, he's sprinkled a lot, and he's having a good time. And I kind of and that's what I think. It's tough. I feel like the last few movies have been very dramatic, and I definitely miss that where we're losing more and more of a good time. Now, if this is supposed to be kind of the Infinity War before Endgame, now Endgame's gonna be 2 parts for Fast and Furious, but that's what this is. It very much is. This is a minor spoiler, but the characters are split up, all of them. They're all in their little groups, and things are happening, and it's getting the stakes are getting bigger. But it's like, are they really getting bigger? I don't know because again, we've talked about all these people just keep coming back. So, but Momoa, he knocks it out of the park. He has a great time with it. He feels natural. Doesn't feel like he's definitely chewing the scenery, but still feels like a character in that world, which is good. He feels like he's in a completely different movie though. Like there's a scene where him and Dom are talking, and Dom's completely serious. And it's not like Batman and Joker and like the interrogation scene. Speaking of Joker, it's like this feels like the same movie. They feel like they're in different eras of Fast, right? So yeah, it's not. This is one where I think Fast and Furious has some movies where I go, oh, I would put this in, or I'd put those few in. This is one that I'll probably only watch when I do a whole binge of them all, but I'll be excited to get there because of Momoa. He makes it very so that's like the one, or I guess the 2 big thumbs up. Everything else is you've kind of been there before. It's gonna hit the similar beats. I think they've added way, way too many characters in these, like with Brie Larson, and I I don't like saying this because I with Brie Larson, I feel like all the hate she gets and stuff online. As if people know as GeekVerse listeners, when they were casting Captain Marvel, I said that's my pick. I got Oscar Isaac, I got her. She was my pick for Captain Marvel. Loved her in Room, loved some other stuff she's done short term. Um, this is one of these movies where it's not her fault. It's just the script and what they make them say. It makes her look like a bad actress, and other people look bad actors, actresses too. But I was shocked to see Brie Larson perform the way she did because I was like, man, I really wish you weren't in this. Good for you getting that payday and stuff like that. But the dialogue in here, the best way I can compare it is it feels like in Tropic Thunder or The Boys, whenever they show like the fake movie or a fake TV show, that's what this feels like now with the one-liners, the action, the twists. It all just does not feel real. It feels like it's on purpose trying to be a joke. It feels sometimes like The Room, right, where Tommy Wiseau goes, "Oh yeah, it was meant to be comedy." No, it wasn't. You try to make a serious film, and people laugh at it, and that's what this is. And I had multiple people in the theater laughing too. Again, it feels like it's laughing kind of at it. It's so funny where I remember when I'd see these movies and there'd be a bunch of people and just it'd be a laugh. Right nowadays, it's not. So there's too many people. Yeah, Brie Larson. I was hoping for more, but not a fan of that. But yeah, there's just they're very bloated. And here's a minor where there's like literally one point where it's Brie Larson, Alan Richardson talking, and they literally just exposition for 5 minutes and just give you the plot of like every movie. Just to like catch you up, like who's Mr. Money? Oh, well, who's this? Oh, you remember Fast Three? Well, this is a guy. Oh, well, you remember Shaw's? Here's like they literally, it's like a previously on it, and that's probably good for general audiences because they don't remember, but it just so it doesn't feel natural in a way. It doesn't feel like these are real people talking, and that happens many times in these films. So again, I enjoy them for what they are, but now I feel like they've officially become high budget, straight to DVD projects and stuff like that. I think that's the actual quality. Enjoyment that varies, but the quality of these films, no, it's not there. And like, am I looking forward to the next one? Like, sure, but like it's not the same way it was. And we'll see how the box office does. International seems like it's doing well. Seems like domestic it's starting to slow down, and even the cinema score that came out. I do wonder if they're gonna get like the part 10, or like the Fast 10 part 3. I do feel like it would be better to just end it on the next one and wait for a little bit. But I feel like the way this movie ends, it's a good crescendo. I feel like another part would be too much, but hey, money talks, right? So yeah, so if you have not seen the movie, or if you're waiting or whatnot, now's the time to pause. I'm going to take a quick ad break right here, and then we're going to be right back, and I'm going to talk about some spoilers and some just the shenanigans in this film. So we'll be right back. And we're back. So that's what I mean. Like, again, I'm not going to break it down by arc, or like what is it, act by act or scene by scene, because there's just so much that happens and there's a lot. But like I said, it is very Infinity War style, not the quality of Infinity War, but they go for like a cliffhanger ending of, oh man, what's gonna happen, you gotta see the next part. There's literally, like we're talking about Brie Larson, there's like a Captain Marvel tease of like at the end, like here's a character who's gonna save the day and stuff like that. So what happens is they we've all seen this. Jason Momoa is playing Dante Reyes. He's related to the Fast Five characters, and he's all about making these characters suffer. The problem is though, it just feels like so many. There's two problems I have with this. There's so many times where it just feels like the only reason he's not killing them is just so we can get to 2 to 3 movies, and that happens in a lot of movies, right? Even James Bond, some of my favorite stuff. It's like, oh, we got to put you in this little trap, but it just so many situations. He's like all these characters like dead to rights. He's like, I just want you to suffer, which I get it, right? That's the point. Suffering is suffering over death. But it eventually just feels like, okay. And the movie does end that way. I'll give them credit where he does finally go for the kill on Dominic and his son again. Hopefully you've seen it or you don't care. He does go for the kill, but at some points it's just like, what's even the end goal? There's multiple times where they're kind of at one point, they have this race, and it's like a fun little setup. But they have this race. It's him, Vin. I can't remember her name. It's Danielle, something. The girl that plays Ratcatcher in Suicide Squad, and then some other guy who's like probably been another Fast and Furious, but he's like a Vin hype man, like, oh, you're a legend and stuff. And eventually they have revealed, and sorry if this is, you're gonna one star me for not knowing the characters' names, go ahead, because I'm a fan of the series, but not that big. I think her name was like Elena or something, who Dom had the baby with, right? And Charlie's killed her, which we get lots of flashbacks in this movie. Like, hey, you remember this? Um, the girl from Suicide Squad is playing her sister. But you don't get that information till 10 minutes after the race, and they're in danger. At one point, Chase and Momoa and Dom are, they're doing this race with these two other people, and he's pretty Momoa makes it sound like he's gonna do a green gum, make him choose, and then he does. He makes him choose between this girl who we literally just met. She gets to the car, her and Dom talk for a little second, and then this guy who's like a hate man for Dom, and he makes them choose like, okay, one of them has to live, one of them has to die, and of course they're human lives, so you do care, but like you don't in the sense of, I don't know who these people are. I wish they actually revealed the sister thing before, because then it'd be like, oh, okay, I have a reason to be a little bit connected, even though I think it's always funny, like everybody, you're Mr. Nobody's daughter, you're, so and so's sister. There always has to be a connection. They just can't be friends anymore, right? But the scene has no intention, because, like, I don't really care about these characters. I like these actors, but I don't really care. Like at one point too, I think he does survive, but they put like little Mr. Nobody in danger. It's like, and the thing is, they killed that race guy, but the thing is, they like are not killing these characters. So it gets a little frustrating. Like, well, at least kill them off and make us feel like if you're not gonna kill the main characters, and again, it doesn't matter, not really, because the moment I was talking about in the end is, and there's a fun little twist, and I'm jumping all over the place, but at the end when it's Momoa's character is like, here's a Joker comparison. It's like the 2008 Joker, where everything goes to plan. Like he has a plan for X, Y, A, B, C, every 10 backup plans, right? So at one point they like completely go off the wall, like the road, they're flipping. Momoa's character's like completely like his car got hit by a fucking plane. And then Dom ends up somewhere and he's just like, that's exactly where I want you. Now it made it better because they revealed that. And I really liked this twist. And this is where I mean, there's some stuff I did enjoy. Al Richardson, the guy who plays Hawk in Titans, and he's the new Jack Reacher. He's the new Hobbs. He's after the crew. They eventually bond, him and Vin, and then at the end, actually, he does a heel turn again. And it was working with Jason Momoa. Really like that. They literally do the flashback scene again, though, where you've seen the trailers where Momoa was standing there, and it's like, oh, he was in Fast Five all the time. They do the same thing where Alan Richardson like walks into frame, and he was there too. But that was a fun little twist because it is like everything, and the Momoa character is very almost Deadpoolish in a fourth wall breaking way. He's making self commentary on the series, and he even says like, "Not everybody joins your family, Dom." And it's like, yeah, because that's what I thought. Like, oh fuck, just another person on our team. And I like Alan Richardson in a role. He played like a dick, great. But the twist, so that was a good thing. He was a twist. He was working with Dom in the back half of the film. He was actually with Momoa, so that's what screwed them up. At one point, it's Tesh. I can't never remember the hacker girl's name, and Roman. They're in a plane. Alan Richardson has a bazooka, shoots the plane out, and the plane crashes off screen. Big explosion, but off screen. Not for a second do I think they're dead. These people are impervious, or I'm butchering that word, impervious. There we go. To said acts of violence, right? So I don't feel any stakes there. And at the same time, it's like if they die, they'll probably just come right back. But that happens. Um, they maybe killed off John Cena, who, like many people have said, he's a completely different character, which I get it because some people were like, hey, you took all the charm away from John Cena. That makes him great. I get that. He was trying something different. And I actually think that for this film and his little team, they put him and Dominic's son B together, which I still hate that his name's Brian, because in their worlds, like Brian didn't die. It's just like he's still around. They put them together, and John Cena's just like a big kid with like a little kid. I actually think for comedic value, it would have been better if he was still the dead ass serious super spy and then played like the straight man to the kid. But they didn't do that. John Cena's just literally John Cena doing that. And he does do a sacrifice play, sacrifice in quotations. His was a little more bigger because like like his car literally blew up and he was in it, and Dom drove past him. It was just like a fire heap. But at the same time, the second they brought Han back, they can bring anybody back. Well, fuck, even this end credit, like again, and I'll just talk about now. For the or how the movie ends, they bring back Gal Gadot. We had heard this before, so it was not a big surprise to me, and I think other people have been following. But she's back, so that's why it's just like Han, his car blew up, didn't matter. They snuck him out. Giselle fell off a fucking moving airplane and she's just back. Like, that's why it doesn't matter. If any, even so, John Cena, when I watched it, I'm like, oh yeah, he has to be dead because the way that car exploded, everything is like, no, not really. They can just say he had like fireproof car and that saved him, right? So that's why it's like all the action scenes I don't really care. I feel like the only action scenes I'm gonna care about, it like care fun to watch, sure. They're no John Wick though. The only time I feel like I'm gonna care again is maybe if they confirm like Fast 10 Part 2 or Part 3 is the finale, because that's where I think Dom will want to do like a goodbye send off and kill off the character, or Vin will. That's when I'll care because it's like anyone can go. But in these moments, no, I don't think so. But yeah, so Momoa, like I said before, spoilers wise, they give him, or non spoilers, they give him lots to work with here, and it definitely feels like a lot's improv. Probably was because they lost the director, but whatever it is, Momoa works. He has like a very good dark sense of humor. He has some never scary scenes. He's more just like a creepy, gross villain, which that in a positive way, right? So I think without him, like just even little stuff like before he threw over Elena's sister, I think it was, he like licks her face. There's this great scene where he's like doing the nails of these two dead bodies and he's just conversating. So like I'm not trying to say, oh, I could just take a Momoa film, because they'll say, oh yeah, you want to just see a Momoa film, hey, but he definitely, I won't say saves, but I will say save, because a lot of it's dull and a lot of it you've seen before, except like similar beats too, right? Where it's just like Momoa's character. That's the problem now when you're on 10 now. His motivations is just the exact same as Owen Shaw's, where you fucked with my family, so I'm gonna fuck with yours. Owen Shaw, I guess, was a bit different because it's like, well, he is want to punish you, he wants to kill you. Momoa wants to punish you, but also at one point too, he's obsessed with like kidnapping Dom's kid, much like Cypher was, right? So it's like we're very much repeating the same arcs over and over now. There's not much new ground being covered in these movies, which is fine. Like again, it's a thing that there's some enjoyment, character interaction, some enjoyment action scenes, and just dumb stuff where you laugh, go, okay, what are we doing here? But yeah, so that's a big part of it there. One of the other teams was a what was it, Letty and Cypher. They were together. They made Cypher fucking. She's of course a badass, knows every fight move in the world, and she can just like hack anything. At one point, they're like locked in this bed, and there's literally like a hacking computer like right beside her hand. Very poor design flaw. But again, it's like they don't care. It's like, oh, we just gotta get her out. There's a fun little moment where they get out together, and Michelle Rodriguez, Letty, is just like, "I still gonna kill you," which it was weird because they fight till they're both unconscious, and then the next cut is like Letty climbing up. There's like a ladder she has to get back to the family. She's an Arc Antica. Oh my god. For they frame them, of course, again, and now it makes a bit more sense because Alan Richardson was a bad guy, but just like someone in the government say, no, like these people are with us, but I digress. Of course, they get framed. So there's this moment where Letty and her fight, Letty and Cypher, and she like she like knocks her out, and then she leaves to go escape, and then she comes back down and saves her life. Like she wanted to kill her, and she just leaves her there. That happens again with Momoa, with that many characters where it's like this character should die. It doesn't make any sense for them to live right here, but they do. And so yeah, like that was fine. I don't know where they're going with it exactly, but that was the big reveal. Hey, I will say with this one, they do a ton of callbacks. So even if they give you the exposition in the middle, they do a callback to so many different things that are probably gone over my head too. So of course they get out of there, and the big callback is, well, Cypher still's that submarine they had in Aid and stuff like that. Of course, right? So, oh, excuse me, it's late here. Submarine pops up, and lo and behold, the Gal Gadot pops up as driver. I don't know what they're gonna do here, especially Cypher is like, I'm sure confirmed maybe child murder, or at least child like what is it, making them orphans and stuff like that. It was very very strange way to do it. I don't like it in the sense of a story, but I always knew it was going to happen because Gal Gadot's a bigger star and Wonder Woman probably is in. So it's like, sure, why not do this? You're already, because to me, once the rules are broken with Han, to me it's okay. You've broken the glass. That's it. It doesn't really matter anymore. So yeah, we'll see. I'll be happy to have her back. Han was not in this movie. Okay, he's in the movie, but he's not doing much. Um, so it'll be good to see him and Giselle back together eventually when they reunite. Everyone's gonna get their happy ending, I guess. Tesh, Roman, and the computer girl, they're doing the same old, same old. Like that's they're all shtick and spiel. That they're on the hunt. They're being hunted. You get a Pete Davidson cameo, which is like, it's fine. I'm kind of over him cameoing stuff between this Suicide Squad and Guardians of the Galaxy. It's not so much like he can never cameo again. Just like I feel like I see him a lot in these like smaller roles, and it's fine. There's a lot of unnecessary steps of like finding where the team is, finding where these guns are, finding about our money. Like, and I get it. There's certain things you have to do, but there's a lot of things. Even like Elena, they do this thing where, because I did go like, hey, she's like, I have some files my sister had. Okay, why is this gonna help us with Dante? And it does because she finds a piece of property, but like you could do that anyway. Like Brie Larson can give that out, something like that, and it adds like 10, 15 minutes and everything. And they talk about the sister and how she was the good one, I was the bad one. Even though, like again, her Hobbs, like they helped these criminals out, so like they're still bad. They're still bad people, right? So yeah, you got that going on. Dom, as always, main character and stuff like that. He's just kind of on the hunt because he gets separated from the group after that big battle, and they're almost wanted and stuff like that. So he's like either on the run, either on the hunt, trying to make these plays, what to do, and always just checking up on B. They call him, not Brian. And with Brian, it's interesting because I was saying this to Emily in the car. It sucks for Jordana Brewster because her character's tied to Brian, right? So it's almost like there's a part of me that should say, you shouldn't see her anymore because you automatically think where Brian is. But we see a lot of her, and that's fine because again, he passed away, she didn't. Um, it's this thing where they do the Brian's safe. Brian's with the kids, he's safe. But then you got Mia, and that's all I say, just Brian's safe. Then they got Mia just at home playing video games with B, the little kid, watching him. And then the second they get attacked, John Cena comes and makes a save. Yet, da, da, da. She goes, "Oh, I gotta go. I gotta check on my, my family and everything like that." So it's it's just odd because why, if this is a point where they're under attack, most one, if people are coming for you, why are you not with Brian and the kids? Just write them off that way. Why is this kid not with them? It's very, very odd, and I think it's a tough situation because they did the thing where they didn't want to kill him off, and I respect that because they didn't want to recast. They want to give him a send off. I respect that, but now that we are 3 to 4 movies away from that, I think there could be a permanent fix that might be needed because things just feel a little off with that too. Especially this next one, it feels like it's proving like every Endgame, like every fast character is going to be in here and fight. But yeah, the movie's just riddled of, they do like lots of tributes and callbacks to 5, which was my favorite one. But like this, they had a fun sequence of like this rolling bomb through Rome that's gonna blow up the Vatican. That's fun. Again, there's tons of unbelievability in there. There's tons of humor where I go, this didn't really work for me, but it was a set piece. That it worked. I was happy with it, and I think it went on maybe a little too long, but I was happy with it. And that's just what he's doing. He's just always the race, the bomb, kidnapping people. That's what Momoa is. He's just, again, trying to make Finn or Dom suffer. That's it. He's not trying to kill him. Not yet. At the very end, he is. Who else story we got here? You got Han and Shaw, which, again, I was disappointed of because they don't give a shit about Leia relationships. I remember when Fast 7 happened and Shaw was working with them. And it was just for the baby. It was like a trade-off. Baby for protecting my mom, pretty much, right? Um, and they didn't talk much about Han. And then when they do Han and Shaw, or Hobbs and Hobbs and Shaw, he just kind of does, I made a lot of mistakes, but I'm trying to make them better. So we got the scene Hobbs and Shaw, or no, it was Fast 9, where Statham's boxing a boxing bag, and there's a guy in it, and he's searching for information, and then boom, Han walks in and he's frozen, right? This take, it's not really frozen. He's just kind of like, oh, dead man, come here to kill me, right? And then they fight a little bit. If I was wanting more from that, as to me, they kind of let that character off scot-free because it's Jason Statham. They want him on The Family. I think I needed more from that, but I'm not going to get it. And I've just realized that, hey, this isn't my, he would have been dead anyways, and this isn't my game. So I may as well just, yeah, I don't know. Who else we got to talk about here? I think we hit, Lil Nobody was back. I don't like Lil Nobody. They talked about Michelle Rodriguez because lots of it's just action and cars and mumbo jumbo that they think makes sense, but it doesn't really make sense. I don't know because there's not much to break down here as far as there's not themes. The themes is just Dom's afraid of losing people. So it's just like, and obviously that's gonna be the hero's play, right? But there's not much there. It's just action and fighting the bad guys. That's pretty much it. Like, I'm trying to think if there's any big set pieces or moments that stood out to me, but I really don't. The character best we have were lower tier, and if they weren't, like people didn't really um, believe it in a sense. That was gonna happen. What else is there to talk about? Let me just grab a quick drink here. I know there's an ending credit. I'll leave that for last, but yeah, I don't know what else there is really. And then, like I said, we talked about John Cena. There's like him, the kid was like fun enough. It was all right. Again, I still think it would have been better the other way if he was a complete straight man. What else? Letty's locked up, and the movie ends with Letty and Charlie's walking to the submarine. Obviously, that's where Gal pops up. We talked about that. Oh, I think that's pretty much other than, and even the end credit scene we talked about in After 9, right? Where The Rock is back. And it makes sense because again, Fast 5 is a big touch point in this. They literally say like, Dom hit my dad's vehicle, but you're the one that put the bullets in. It's like, well, yeah, he's a fucking officer. Like, of course he has to, right? But and he drops the the Rock says, some bitch, or come get some bitch. He breaks the phone with his hand. Again, who knows what reasons? Who knows if it was ever a real feud? Who knows if it's because Black got unbombed? Whatever the reasons are, if Dwayne, The Rock is back for uh 11 and 12 or one of them, I'm very happy about that because I not that I think Vin Diesel should tweet out that or Instagram that, hey, we got to finish the story. Paul would want you there. It's not the same without you. I think that was definitely too far. But I do agree that it would feel weird to have a final, saga trilogy film without Hobbs. He was an integral part. He was something that was like franchise fatigue and stuff like that, or not fatigue, franchise Viagra, where hey, The Rock's here brings up he was the reason I want to see these movies, right? So it's a fun enough thing where obviously he's like working with some agency. He's looking probably for Dante, and he just finds a phone with a bunch of photos and stuff, and he's punishing all the people that helped the Toretto family and everything. So yeah, I'm excited to see him back. I think especially with them doing this Infinity War method, they could do that with um the part two, I guess, and have it, or no, sorry, they could do that part two, but I mean like they could have Rock separated from Finn all the time. If it's an actual feud thing, you don't really have to have them together, So, and then yeah, the last sequence was just fucking crazy. Finn's picking up a car with one arm, pretty much to balance it. You have Finn whose cars get like shot by helicopters, and he brings the helicopters down pretty effortlessly. So, just the crazy action you could think of. But yeah, there's not really character arcs. There's none of that. It's just, hey, are you in? Are you out? As far as a review goes, or sorry, like a score goes, again, from a critical standpoint, it's a fail. From enjoyment, I can't give it the 7. I think I'm like a 6.5 because I've said before where it's like, hey, it has a lot of issues, not the greatest, but I will return multiple times to it. I will not. I will return to it multiple times in my life because I will binge these again because yeah, there's fun aspects and I like the characters. But like I said at the beginning of the review, I don't have a desire to go out and watch it right away. I don't have a desire to, save that so I could, like, oh, I can't wait the Blu-ray and stuff like that. Um, that's what a 7 is. A 7 is I want to be watching it not over and over, but I could watch it at any point. And not this. It doesn't have that much good stuff. And I think in the theater's a bit better. You got the speakers because it was a loud movie. You got the speakers, the big screen. I got to see them for the first time. We laughed, but there's not much meat on this bone really, and you know what you're getting into. At this point, you know what you're getting into. Once you saw to me 8 and you're fine with that and you stuck with it like myself, that's where you are. If you saw 8 and you're hoping it's gonna get back the way, I not a chance, not a chance at all. Yeah, I think that was it. They're hinting at Letty being pregnant, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, those are my thoughts. About a 6.5. Definitely not the greatest of the Fast Furious franchise. Definitely one of the lower tier ones. Momoa pretty much saves it. Splitting up the team has its advantages, but at the same time, they just order a bunch more characters, and then maybe can't like afford and stuff like that. But we'll see. So yeah, no, I think that's everyone. Thank you, everyone. Let me know what you thought and stuff like that. I'm sorry if this wasn't the longest one, but there's just with the action, there's not too much to talk about. And that, with Momoa, it's same thing would just be naming specific scenes like I did with the nail polish or um there's a great scene when he's racing. That's really funny. He keeps sticking his head out the window and saying all these strange things. So, but yeah, it's. I feel like again, if you're on Fast and Furious watching this now, still you're already on the path. If you're somebody that wants to like avert, spoilers and stuff like that, then I'm not sure. So, anyways, thank you very much for tuning in. I promise to hear from you next. Won't be boring.